What is up, everybody? I am Zack Woodall, and this is another special edition, and a very special one at that, of the King's Court, as I am joined by the 2018 Gen Con World Heavyweight Champion, John Polverino himself. John, welcome to King's Court, and thank you for making the trip from NYC, brother.
Zach, thank you so much for having me, man.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure, is mine. And so for those of you back at home that may not have seen one of these, or for you maybe, being your first time on the show, the way this works, this is not a tournament. This is a very fun play of the game. But we're going to play this game, and throughout the duration of the game, what we're going to do is we're going to have just a little chat, man. I'm going to pick your brain about some of your stuff. Your name was one of the greatest players in the world, so I'm anxious to get this one started. So let's get our hands going, brother.
Let's go, man.
All right. So, of course, Johnny Gargano over here for the champ himself. And we'll be playing Alton Black for me. And we are ready to roll.
I am a fan of Alton Black myself.
Yes.
He is very good.
Starting
this off with a 5.
I'm starting it off with a 10, so I'll get to play. So one of the questions that I definitely want to ask you, because I've had the opportunity to have 2 former world champions on the show, Pager Rager and King Pink, and now you being the third. So I feel honored to get to interview these guys and gals. But talk us through your championship match. What were your feelings? Because you have an opportunity to make history, right? And you're going to be forever known as 2018 Gen Con champ now. But in that last match, playing against King Cole, KSW's own, right? What's your thought process? What are you feeling? What's your emotions? Are you calm? Are you nervous?
Well, it wasn't my first boat in a championship type game. It's just that it's good.
Did you try?
Basically, I mean, it definitely. I got a 9.
No.
It definitely helped that we had like that pre-match 6. Pre-match warm-up type promo thing with the music, and that was really fun.
Yeah, that was epic.
That definitely eased a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and it showed that Keith, who at that point I actually didn't really have any conversation. It's funny, like all of you guys, I never actually fully met until the after party that night.
Yeah.
And everything hasn't been the same since. But
exactly.
But really, it was good, man. And as soon as I just felt ready. I've been waiting to do that for the longest time, that game.
Yeah.
And it's
6.
I don't know, man. As soon as I got it, and I think I won the first 3 the first 3 terminals. So after that, I was feeling pretty good.
Of course.
I got 10. But and then just I kept winning a lot of terminals, man. And you know what? It wasn't like a normal game because it did have that main events crowd type thing, and the game didn't stop. So as the game kept going, and
you got Headlock Master.
Oh, nice. As the game kept going, and the game wasn't ending, I got 7.
5.
It did get a little more nerve-wracking because eventually you run out of stuff to do, and then they might be able to get an offense going on you.
Right.
It just overall, I mean, it was a good. It's a very much a cliche that says it's my time.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was.
Well, you've been long known as one of the greatest players of the Super Show, right? I mean, maybe that's due to your past in some other games, but I mean, very successful up in your hometown. And you brought a lot of hype with you, a lot like what we did, and it was really fun. One of the things that you touched on that, I've never had the experience of is everybody's surrounding you. Everybody's watching you. They're all looking over your shoulder. Does that add to the nerves, or or do you just blank them out and you don't even see them?
No, I mean, I've been dealing with that type of stuff a long time, man.
Right.
Like I said, it wasn't my first time in a format like that, but it's all about what you feel inside. And to be honest with you, it's once you get the game going, you kind of just don't even feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of just block everything out. Apparently, it was funny. They say they couldn't figure out why they were hearing music while the finals was going on.
Yeah,
I didn't hear anything.
Right.
And apparently there was music playing. What happened was Jacob from Comic Book World had his iPod playing in his pocket during the finals. I had no idea.
No.
But apparently it was. But yeah.
That's wild. Well, I mean, it was a big moment. You get crowned 2018 Gen Con World Champion, was just outstanding. And, yeah, I mean, well earned. And you were right, man. It was something that we never really sat down and had this conversation. We never really, I mean, you knew who I was, I knew who you were. That was about the extent of it. But, I mean, it was afterwards, you came out, and there's no party like a KSW party when it happens, right?
Man.
But you come out, man, we get to talking. But probably one of my favorite things about this game that separates it from others is the community. And that community, again, just grew larger for me that night.
And you have such an opportunity to literally do what you want, create your own atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's something you don't see in other games, where it's like you can create your own GM role and your own storylines and everything. Like everyone, if you're watching this, you probably have seen their promo videos. They're great, and
Appreciate it.
you don't see that in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Right.
You don't see that in other games like
Right.
that. So it's good.
There ain't Magic players cutting promos before their match, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
If there was, that'd be weird.
Yeah, a little weird. But yeah, the atmosphere, the community, and like I said, I gained a good friend that night, in my opinion, in John Polverino, and happy for you to be 2018 Gen Con World Champion. But with your win, there was a little bit of negativity brought into it. And I'm not saying there's nothing to do with you. What's your thoughts on what came out afterwards about your Immortal Warrior?
Yeah. Well, something that Steve Rusk, he's one of my best friends.
Yes.
Something that always bothers me is characters would be developed, and he always says that I look at this game differently than what other people say.
Uh-huh.
So some characters that get brought out that are looked at as good might actually just be insanely good. And it wasn't until when I started playing them during at the locals, because the whole entire thing used to be that Vic the Brick was the top guy, and then there was his brother, but in actuality he was the best, the
Right.
warrior.
Yeah.
And I was showing him that, and he's just like, it's just not fair. And the controversy was that he's just too broken. And you know what? He is very good.
He is.
I've talked with Steve extensively on how to possibly fix it, whether it's errating the actual character, maybe doing a Type 2. You see that they did come out with version 2s of each of them, so possibly just, I guess, banning the version 1s and sticking with version 2s. But you know what? At the end of the day, if they're legal cards, sure, there's controversy like, oh, he used something broken. Anybody could have used it. There was 90-something people in that tournament, one other Immortal Warrior the whole entire time. Anyone could have did it. The people that won the tag team championships, half of that championship was Immortal Warrior.
Yeah.
And I guess I just went with, I practiced with him forever.
I never looked at your win as an asterisk. Because here's my thing. When I saw Amazing Red win, there was a problem with Amazing Red. When I saw Patriot Rager win, Patriot Rager's too good. She gets that bonus to the kick out. I'm thinking, okay, well, Super Armor has it as well. So there's always a controversy. Yeah, you know what? A little bit of it.
That's going to be it.
A little bit of it's like, I didn't win. So, something's got to be wrong.
I mean, until somebody wins with, EDM, then. But to be honest, this game is just, they don't call it the most unpredictable card game ever. Slingshot.
Stop it.
Nice. They don't call it that for nothing, because anybody can pick up a starter deck. And win a game if they're winning turn rolls. But there is skill involved.
Yes. And strategy.
And deck building and all of that. So if you're a good player playing a good deck, you're going to have better results. For example, I went 6-1 in Swiss at Worlds. The other Mortal Warrior went 2-5.
Right.
So obviously there was some kind of not the right click,
Yeah. No, I get it completely. And like I said, is he brutal? Yeah, he is brutal. 10 as well. But at the same time, were the cards legal when you sat down? Yes.
Absolutely.
Are they still legal? Yes. So I see nothing wrong with it. You're a wonderful player that played a very good character, and the results showed. And there's nothing wrong with that in my eyes.
It wasn't even like, oh, I just dominated King Cold.
Right.
It was that he just rolled pretty bad in the final.
Towards the end,
finals.
yeah.
And that's a big factor.
That's this part of the game. That's what makes it unpredictable. It doesn't matter how many promos or prize support cards I have in here. If you're hitting what you got, and you got that one, you know, if you're hitting the rolls, that's what matters. So that all aside, congratulations, you're the 2018 Gen Con World Champ. So I have two ways I can go with this. I think I got to go this way with it right now because I have another big question for you. So maybe we slow play this in case you beat me. But Sami Callihan on a boat with some beginners is now crowned as the ultimate champion, right? What's your thoughts on that, being that you went through 90-something compared to 20-something, and the 90-something were brought up with KSW, they were brought up with XCW, they were brought up with some of the best players in the world, come together at Gen Con, and you're standing above them all. What's your thoughts on Sami Callihan right now?
Not my champion? Wait, what?
Not your champion?
No.
Right? I mean,
listen, and if Sammy somehow sees this video,
great, I'm glad.
I'm coming for you, man. No, but really, all power to the money. That's pretty much it. I mean, they've had talks about doing this unified champion that defends the belt, and I like that, for sure. But there's no nonchalantly burying the fact that the last 4 or 5 years of Gen Con was the World Championship. It was the hardest tournament of the year, and that's always what it was.
Yes.
So some guy who decides, or a group of 24 people who decides to pay a fee, go on a ship, and play in a tournament, and now he's crowned this world champion because he's such a well-known guy, and he won a tournament. Sure, come down to Kentucky, play the KCW.
Right.
Come play the guy who just won the Creative Competitor Tournament, Kirk Polka, who defeated me tonight. He gets the #1 shot against you. If Sammy wants to be a real champion, he won't do any sort of DQ nonsense, and we'll see how that actually pulls out.
Oh, absolutely. Hit that finish, see what we got. But I'm with you. Maybe not my champ. Like, for you, you're my champ right now. You're the 2018 Gen Con champ. Until you're beaten by in a tournament, or you're beaten next year, really, in my opinion, that's how you lose that title as the best player in the world, when you give it up there at Gen Con. Because, I mean, hey, that's an incredibly hard tournament to win. And it's the hardest of them all. It doesn't matter if it's Underworld or Tag. The Worlds is the hardest one.
Even I look at my boy Chris P., who's also from Shaggy, I should say, is from New York. He's in my play group. He won the Origins Championship this year as well. Right. Sure, it wasn't 90-something people like Gen Con, but it was still 40-something people.
No small feat still.
No, and it had some good players. It had the people from the NWO, like we just saw today. It had a lot of other good players. In my opinion, Chris P. is on another level compared to Sami Callihan. Not my champion.
Hey, congratulations, Sami Callihan. The boss says it is, so that's what it is.
Hey.
I'm interested to see what he can do with Polka, but I'm also interested to see, because apparently the Gen Con champions are getting together this year, and that might be the tournament of the year right there, just with some of those competitors.
Good, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of talented folks in that one. Stepping away from that subject right now. Go ahead and hit your finish roll. See what you got here.
So I hit the sheep shooter. So I'm trying to beat this right now. So let's see. Brand new card. Created by none other than Harvey Lester.
The illustrious one.
Ooh, it's a 10.
10.
That's a 10.
So this will probably beat me, because I just cannot kick out tonight. But look at that.
Oh, my God.
But look at that.
The first shot.
Alter Black will not let me down.
You got a crown meter 1, folks.
Crown meter 1. And we'll just have to get a die over here to indicate that for us. We just skipped the crown meter by accident. Excited to talk. One thing I like to ask people when they come on the show is, because I think everybody looks at games differently. You've had a lot of success in a lot of different games. What are you looking for in a Super Show competitor? What stands out and says, this is better than this because this?
The game?
The game is maybe really in a competitor. You know, what makes Johnny Gargano stand out over EDM, for example?
So you're trying to pick my brain.
Yeah, we got to pick your brain. We got to see how the champ thinks.
Listen, then this might be what separates me from other players. I look at this game, and I've noticed that people who can gain an advantage against their opponent, I think card control is huge. Some of my top decks, like you saw, Mortal Warrior, draws two a turn, basically. He can cycle through his deck, get what he needs. Someone like, I just ran Aerial Lipstick today, who just in 2 rolls can cripple your opponent and give you that huge advantage.
Exactly.
I played a game in top 8 against Harvey where he had no cards in his hand. He was going draw go for 8 turns, and that's huge because I don't have to. He won turn rolls, but he wasn't hitting me with anything, so I was getting a shot to at least get a chance. When I look at a competitor, I look at what they can. I don't even consider really their finishers first. It's what they can do. Like Gargano has the ability to thin his deck and recover cards from the discard pile.
Yes.
It's huge card advantage.
Yeah, I agree. That's I kind of look at it a similar way. I want to what is his strength? Obviously that's going to be your gimmick, but can I manipulate this? That's big for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other really kind of 1B would be, what am I going to be able to do this? Is it I'm going to be able to bury you? I like your Mercenator. I like for your aerial lipsticks of the worlds. Well, okay, that's manipulation. I can keep you down. Alton Black, for example, I can keep you down if I hit my right cards.
Exactly.
Or am I going to be able to just draw so much to where I can stack my hand?
My opinion, if I look at characters, I first want to see how much they can draw.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like drawing is the best feature in this game.
I can see that. I agree.
I was explaining to that guy today.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to flip his whole deck. I feel like, sure, if you draw your whole deck, you have to discard down to 10, but you got to keep the best cards.
Exactly.
So if I have a choice of flipping 8 or drawing 4, I'd rather draw 4 because I get to actually use those cards instead of just throwing them away.
Of course.
Now, if you're playing a guy who works with the discard pile, like one of my favorite characters is Gold Standard, who always has to do that. Other people like King Greatness, who gets to manipulate, or Zack Sabre Jr., he can take what he wants from the discard pile, so having them in there is different, which then falls back to cards like, do you pack the Lariats that shuffle 2, draw 2, or the cards that flip 3 and then pick up a card? That's where, people might not think of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But if your character can draw a lot of cards, like Amazing Red, or work with the discard pile, I feel like is the strongest asset to the game. Characters that say like are gimmicky, where it's like, oh, if you hit, what's a good example?
If you hit a strike, search for a strike. If your opponent rolls strike.
Something like that.
Yeah, I get you.
If it's not going to give you like a huge advantage, sure, I'll give him a shot.
Yeah.
But
kind of risk versus reward. Is it going to hit often?
Exactly.
Probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. The more interactive your gimmick can be, that's why I like those type of gimmicks more than ones that say when you roll power, like Merlin. He's great.
Yeah.
He is, but his gimmick
rolling.
happens 1 in 6 chance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, you don't have anything.
If you're not rolling well, he's not much.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree with you. So I think he won that turn roll. Lead grapple. You've got it.
All right, so we each can draw a card, and then my gimmick triggers, where I flip 2 cards, and now...
Prime example, what we just talked about.
Now I have a bunch of cards to look at, and I got to take a submission into my hand, so I'm going to take the full Nelson into my hand.
Of course.
Now, why I like this so much is, say next turn, I throw the full Nelson, it gets stopped, goes in the discard pile. And there are other characters, this is a great example. If I look at your character and see no surefire way of recovery, I feel good when I have 3 prime stops in my hand.
Yeah.
Because once you hit that submission or throw it and I stop it, I know until you hit a certain card, it's not going to come back anytime soon.
Yeah.
But Gargano, if I hit any grapple right now, that full Nelson's coming back.
Oh, yes.
If you play against, like today, Harvey Luster played Sage the Wiccan Witch, and I'm like, my head is hurting.
Very underrated.
Girl is like, she gets through her whole deck, but the fact that, okay, I just stopped 2 of her finishes, boom, they're right back in the deck.
Exactly.
And that is, like you just said, a very underrated gimmick.
Yes.
And she's very, very powerful.
Very underrated.
And there are some actual people that think, oh, this deck is not that great.
She's not very good.
She's not that good.
I can't pack 2 extra strikes. Finishes,
the prime example of this, and Steve Rusk played her, the new girl.
Lady Baba?
No, it's the, she's another example I want to bring up, but, the Egyptian girl.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, exactly.
Mortician's creation.
Yes, Mortician. Shout out to you. I know you watch these.
She is so underrated because I hit a strike and I bury 2 cards in my hand, in my discard pile.
Yeah.
You have no cards in your deck. You're basically saying, okay, I'm going to draw this card, this card.
Exactly.
But Lady Baba, like you said, her gimmick is what? When you do something, your opponent buries a card.
Yeah.
My opinion, it's not that strong of a gimmick.
Was ran very well a couple times at Gen Con.
It was.
And again, it's based off of that a whole lot of times.
9?
9 as well.
Oh.
But what makes the game exciting is it doesn't matter. There's a lot of different characters. I know you're a day one guy. You know, you've been playing for a long time. But the way the game has grown, there's ridiculous amount of options that you can choose from, regardless of your play style. And for example, here in KSW, there's King Cold, who you beat in the World Championships, runs the most obscure decks that you can think of, but he makes them work. He finds their strength. How do I make them work to my advantage? So there's different ways to look at it. It doesn't say that this is the perfect way, but, you know, I had to pick the champ's brain. You know, how are you seeing it? But I agree a lot with you where King Cold wouldn't, right?
But that's 100% what you're... This is where the skill still comes into a factor.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, he took Ken Broadway, who in a lot of people's opinion is not even close to the top tier left.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Yeah.
You know? You give that deck to a subpar player, they're not going to do anything.
They probably don't make the round robin.
So that's where people will be like, oh, I can't invest in a game that's so unpredictable because of a dice roll. There's still a lot of factors.
Yes.
So.
Yes. If you like somebody, find a way to make them good. And a lot of times you can.
Yeah.
8. So this is your first time visiting KSW.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, I would never imagine you're sitting in my garage recording this video with me. What's your thoughts of Kentucky?
To be honest, being a guy from the city, it's so peaceful, man. I'm a guy who, if I had the opportunity, would like to leave New York to be somewhere less. I don't know if I'd go all the way to Kentucky, but at least out of New York. But honestly, the hospitality here is great. The people are fantastic, and it's just It's really, really been fun to come down here, man.
Well, I'm so glad you came.
And it took one night for you guys to literally welcome me in and show me, like, these are people I want to see and hang out with. And it took me like that to hit up the GM and be like, we got to go out. And we made it happen, man. I'm sitting right here.
Well, I mean, I really appreciate it. Like I said, the KSW after party is what he's talking about last year. And it was a good time. But, you know, like I touched on it, this game has brought me a lot of new friends. Friends from all over the world, New York City, Chicago, forget my boys up in Michigan, you know, that I got to hang out with.
Good people.
Yes, who are very good people. New Zealand, you know, with Ian, you know, so I've met friends from all around this world that I feel like I can call, that's my friend. Not that, I know John Polverino, I know who he is. But no, John Polverino, that's my friend. And I've played in other competitive games as well. Maybe if I sit down against you in a game called Raw Deal, it probably frustrates me to the point that I don't want to talk to this guy.
Man.
You know,
100%. That game, as much as I love that game, man, it's so far now, man. Ooh, it's full Nelson is good. So buries the drop kick, and this is where a lot of players. Another pro tip is pay attention to what your opponent has.
Yeah.
A lot of people will be like, okay, buried it. There you go. Don't even look at the cards.
Thank you.
Looking to see that he doesn't have a stop. He's got a finish. He's got press. He's got a good aggressive hand.
Yes.
But next turn, I feel confident throwing not just the fact that he buried his strikes, grapple stops, but anything.
Yeah.
So
now he knows. He's pretty much got free range, and with the +3 advantage of this card, probably going to get to go.
8 to an 11.
Let's see now.
So I do get the turn, and now I have the opportunity to throw whatever I wish. And I'm going to just throw the splash in the corner.
All right, and obviously he's going to hit. He knows what I have.
So, going back to the conversation, and this is, I always like to bust like the GM's chops and Steve's. I have tier lists basically of each card slot of like what cards are better. The perfect example is the 22, 23, 24 slots that some people know are the shuffle 2, draw 2, some are the flip 3, pick up cards, some are the search your deck for a strike double submission.
Lariats, right?
Lariats.
Yep.
I have tier lists on what I feel is better. So I have the, like my decks, you can tell how much I care about a deck based on what cards you see in it.
Yeah.
So, for example, I believe shuffling 2 cards back into your deck and drawing 2 cards is the best card advantage. Now, depending on the character you have, the flip 3s are the next.
Yes.
My opinion goes, because I follow the sheer step, the quote, thinning is winning. So lariats are better to the max because shovel 2, draw 2 is so powerful. But flipping 1 is good too because it could be a useless card.
Right.
Then comes the standard ones, like the splash in the corner.
Right.
Then comes the flip 4, pick up a card, because that is card advantage.
Exactly.
Then the flip 3s. Then what I like to call, this is tier 5, by the way. So if I'm packing these, they're like the 15th deck in my box.
Right.
The sling blades, the short arm lariats, flip 3, shuffle 2, draw 1s.
Not a big fan.
People pack those by choice over the splash in the corner.
Yes.
For what reason? I don't know. I flip 3 to shuffle the same amount to draw 1 less.
Don't get it.
I don't understand.
I don't get it.
Unless the card, like short arm lariat, works with gold standard because it's an arm, I don't pack those. So I always like to, I always joke around with Clace and Steve. I'm like, no, this guy's not that good. He's packing sling blade.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You look at cards and you think, what cards are better than the other cards? People that are packing cards that say flip 2 cards for each other follow-up in play, unless you're Ricochet who's drawing off that,
right?
Why is that the better option than drawing cards?
I agree.
If I'm flipping my 2 stops and my finish, I'd rather have those in my hand, you know?
Where I could have drawn those.
So that's definitely something you want to consider is what gives you the best card advantage.
I agree.
And that's how you can get better at this game, you know?
Yeah. And is it a little bit of luck? Yes. But there is skill that goes in. I mean, you can watch you talked about Luster's game, the longest game of the tournament. I mean, no offense. I mean, it just was
7.
8. But the amount of thought that went into that, and I'll give you a compliment, right? And Luster, I know you watch, so I'm giving you away, but that's okay. And here's the card we just talked about, Larry and I. But he came over and said, I couldn't imagine playing Aerial Lipstick all the time, but I can't, she's so good. He said, I could imagine playing Aerial Lipstick all the time. Excuse me. He said, but for playing Sage in the tournament, like Gen Con capacity, he said, I'd have such a headache by the time I hit the round of 16 that I would be done. I would just be shuffling stuff back that I didn't even need. And so that tells you the amount of thought that goes into just one gimmick. You know, and that doesn't include what I'm about to play as a follow-up. Okay, he's already stopped this and that, and that's what's over there, which you ask out of respect, but this is still public knowledge, right?
Sure.
You know, so veteran tip, look through this when you have questions.
Don't be afraid to ask your opponent, hey, can I see your discount pile? It's public knowledge. If they say no, you call a judge. There's no reason. You have to see there's only 30 cards in the deck.
Right.
So, and it's 1 through 30.
Yeah.
So if you see that stop any submission in here, you might be safer to throw that submission,
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it's math, and if you can do the math right, you will succeed in this game.
Yes. Now, the rolls go where they will, but if you can do those basic things like what works for my character, and honestly, this what we just talked about as far as characters and what we like could be completely different than what Keith, who literally you played in the World Championships, is your likes, but this knowledge, those tips, those are invaluable. So if you're a new player that's watching this video, sit down with the 2018 Gen Con World Champ, sit down with someone who's talked to the 3 champs, that I feel like I have a good grasp on this game as well. Take the time in a game that's important to you and do the little things. Do the little things. Okay, well, I looked at his hand a few turns ago and he still didn't have this, and his discard pile says he doesn't have this, so he's still pretty well stacked, as I would be at this moment. Chances are he doesn't have it.
Yeah. And they take the shot.
Yeah, then you take the shot. Take an educated shot.
Head toss it. My gimmick will trigger. I flip 2 more cards. because gimmicks can work with stops as well.
Mhm.
I get a submission back. So I look through to see what the best one. I'm going to take the sheep shooter. Here's my hand. Because Gargano is broken.
He is brutal.
And can do that.
He is brutal.
10.
And you got it.
Oh, all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. So I have to discard down to 10 before I do anything else.
So I'm about to lose, but for everybody back at home, I was one turn away.
Alright. So, crowd leader's at 1.
Mhm.
I gotta decide how I want to play this, and I'm gonna go the smart route and try the slingshot spear.
Okay. And why was that the smart route?
Why?
Just for everybody back. I know why, but for someone that maybe like why that over?
So I went with the slingshot spear based on math again. Crowd leader is 1. Slingshot spear says +1 in my agility, so my 7 goes to an 8 to a 9 from the crowd leader. My strike goes from an 6 to an 8 to a 9. Those are 2 low skills that I now know can at least give me a decent chance to win.
Exactly.
Whereas if I went with the sheep shooter, it says +1 to my submission, which means my 9 to a 10, which 1 crowd meter is a game, then +3 to my 5, 8 to a 9. You know what? They're both still good, but I'd rather help 2 small skills out as opposed to 2 big skills that if I roll it, like right now, if I roll a submission, it goes from a 9 to a 10. That's still very good chance to
Right.
win.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and worst case scenario, and card advantage, like I was saying, I shuffle 4 cards and draw a card.
Mhm.
So I got to put back 4 good cards into my deck to possibly play.
Which is low stacked right now. Literally has, I think, 2 cards in there. So gonna have a pretty good chance of getting one of those 4 cards he's taking back. For many of you, you're sitting home and you may know this, but there's players that you're teaching at your shop or your friends that you're teaching that you don't think about these tips, and this is what these type of videos are for, But go ahead and beat me. There it is. That's just how it happens.
Yeah, 2 and 11.
That's how it happens. But nonetheless, one of the more informative sit-downs in King's Court that I've had, so I appreciate that. More importantly, to be honest about it, I'm so glad you're in my home. I'm so glad to welcome you in my home, and thank you for the nice things. And more importantly, this time last year, I'm going to be honest, John Polverino was just a name and a dude that I saw at Gen Con, and I'm so glad that you're here tonight.
Exactly.
Thank you, my friend.
And I cannot be happier to be here, man, and I hope this becomes a more normal thing.
I absolutely do as well.
And also, I've said it many times, thank you so much for the amazing hospitality.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much. And one day we'll make it to your neck of the woods. We promise.
Man,
all right?
I will.
That's a busy lifestyle for us simple folk.
That would be fun, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for everybody back at home, thank you so much for joining us on another edition of King's Court. Hope you maybe learned something. If you didn't, hope you enjoyed the conversation between 2 friends sitting down here who were brought together by a game that was so unpredictable they can only call it the Super Show. I am Zack Woodall for John Polverino, the 2018 Gen Con World Champ. He's my champ. Have a great night. Sweet, bro.
That was great.
I'll get that posted in the morning.
That was awesome.
Yes.
He's my champ. Not my champ.